This is the first time this has honestly happened where police have kicked me out of an event.
I didn't kick you out, sir.
So I'm allowed to go in there and ask people questions?
Well, they reserved this area.
I understand, but it's still a public area.
Yes, sir. But no, not when they reserved it.
This is still a publicly open area. It's not fenced off. There's no metal detectors or anything going into this place. It's open to the public. There's no it's not a ticketed event. Media has the right to go in here and ask people questions. This is First Amendment protected activity, even according to Supreme Court jurisprudence. Are you willing to get sued, your police department, over this?
Tell me when you're done. No.
Go ahead, please.
Okay.
What's up, guys? Nuance Bro checking in. We're here in Houston, Texas at the March for Our Lives event, which is about gun control. Let's go talk to people, see what's going on. So why are we out here today?
I am out here to support my daughter. She's a teacher, and I am tired of living in fear every day that she's going to be shot in her classroom. So I'm out here to support her.
And what do you think we should do in order to fix these issues that make you afraid for your daughter at school and things like that?
Number one, don't arm teachers. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. We need to give them more sources and tools in the classroom versus giving them Kevlar and bullets and doors and bulletproof glass. I think it's more important to arm our teachers with the tools they need to teach kids. I think it's more important to arm our schools with counselors for mental health, more funds in our schools or can protect kids, not bulletproof glass and guns.
So in that list of things, it didn't seem like you listed a lot of gun control policies or anything like that. Is that something you support? Or
100%.
So what kind of policies would you like to see on that front?
Raising the age to 21 to buy a handgun, banning all assault rifles, doing red flag laws, limiting magazine capacities to 10. Basically all the laws that Hawaii has implemented within their state. They've not had a mass shooting in 20 years in Hawaii, and they've implemented all those laws, red flag laws, no guns in and out, 10-round mags, no assault weapons, gun-free zones, and they've not had a mass shooting in 20 years. So I think we need to implement what Hawaii has done.
So, for example, Uvalde was a gun-free zone at the time when the shooting happened. It doesn't seem like there's, at least from what I've seen, that there's a correlation between these gun-free zones and safer, outcomes when it comes to mass shootings. Do you feel like that really does anything?
Versus armed guards in a school, or
I suppose.
Armed guards at a grocery store. How did that work? Armed guard at Parkland. Armed guard at Columbine, all had armed guards, didn't work. There were 19 cops at Uvalde at that school. They didn't do anything. Sorry.
Yeah, but we have school districts in this country that have they have armed teachers, for example. I don't think.
Name the data.
So as far
What's
as
the data?
So the data is, I don't know if there's ever been a school shooting at those schools where they have.
Do you know that, or do you not know that?
That's what I'm saying. It's
do you know that?
I'm saying I don't believe so. I don't believe that there has.
Then you can't use that as a source.
Do you have a source
data.
that's not the case?
It's not true.
It's not true. So which school has had a mass shooting?
Schools are less safer with teachers with guns inside them. There's been 100 instances of students and teachers being harmed in schools where there was guns inside the classroom.
Where it was allowed?
Yes, where teachers were armed within schools. There were 100 instances of students and teachers being harmed. There was a teacher who had a gun strapped to his hip, did a cartwheel, and the gun fell out and shot somebody.
And this was a case where it was allowed, and this was there's been 100 instances of people being harmed.
Instances of schools where teachers were armed, and there were instances of people being hurt.
In the United States, or?
Yes. Where else would be that?
I don't know, Israel or something. I'm not sure.
We're not Israel. There's not mass shootings of schools in Israel.
Well, they have armed teachers in Israel. Is my point.
So you're advocating for arming all teachers and?
No, not at all. No.
Then what are you advocating for?
Well, I'm not advocating for anything in this particular conversation. I was just asking about the gun-free school zones. You mentioned handguns to 21. It's already in the case in the United States that in order to buy a handgun from a gun store or whatever, you already have to be 21.
Right.
So
not for an assault weapon.
Yes. So you mentioned handguns in particular. So for assault weapons, what do you define an assault weapon as?
Particularly the ones that have used in the last 19 school shootings, those guns in particular.
But how do we, if we're going to design legislation to ban these things, how do we define that?
The same assault weapons ban that was implemented in 1994.
Okay, so you want to ban, for example, pistol grips, telescopic...
I'm not going to get into specifics of guns.
Sure, but the problem with what a lot of people would say with the 94 assault weapons ban is that people were still able able to buy AR-15s, AK-47s during that time.
Look at the data of when the assault weapons ban was in place and the amount of school shootings that happened in that time frame. When the assault weapons ban was disbanded, mass shootings went up.
Sure, but
that's the data.
The correlation's not necessarily causation.
Yes, it is.
Correlation's causation?
Yes, there was an assault weapons ban, and there was hardly any school shootings during that time.
Sure, I mean, you could draw a lot of other types of correlations saying, like, okay, after this particular state passed concealed carry, constitutional carry, like, the crime rate went down or something like that. That doesn't necessarily mean that's causative, right?
Okay, so what's the correlation and causation of Hawaii?
Of Hawaii? I mean, Hawaii, it's an island state. They have a very different demographic than the rest of the country.
That data doesn't count?
I mean, does it count for New Hampshire, Vermont, Idaho, where they have virtually no gun laws?
Yes, it all counts.
They have the lowest homicide rates in the country.
Data that we can use to put forth more strict and more gun responsibility in this country. What we're doing now is not working. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's not working. Something needs to be done now, whether it's banning ARs, whether it's bulletproof glass, whether it's banning them till they're 21, whether it's getting them off the streets, whatever it is, whatever we're doing now is not working. And so you saying adding more guns to a classroom,
that's not what I said.
As a teacher, is asinine. It's asinine. It's stupid.
That's not what I advocated for, but I'm saying, well, I wanted to mention the New Hampshire, Idaho, and Vermont that I brought up because they have, some of the least restrictive gun laws in the country, but they have the lowest homicide rates in the country.
Okay.
So is that causative there?
I don't know. I've not studied that data.
So what do you think about countries when they've implemented gun control measures in the past historically, and it's actually been associated with an increase in homicides?
I don't know that data. What countries specifically are you talking about?
Most of the ones that have passed gun control historically, like when you compare it to
New Zealand, Australia, UK, Scotland, Ireland, which one?
A lot of those actually, like that's been the case.
Their mass shootings went up when they implemented gun laws.
So mass shootings in particular are already a very rare event, and people always talk about the United States having.
You're an idiot.
No, you don't want to.
You're an idiot.
Well, so for mass shootings in particular, I want to talk about the data because, these are such rare events that one mass shooting can skew the data for many years. So, for example, Norway, they had one mass shooting that skewed the data. They have a higher mass shooting death rate than the United States did for many, many years because they only have like 5 million people in the country.
Right.
So do you feel like that's, it would be fair to say, well, Norway is more dangerous when it comes to mass shootings than the United States?
I don't know.
Is there anything?
You did. You are the responsibility. You are responsible for those you followed.
In 1776 with the British?
Yeah.
Oh yes, you don't.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously.
You need to go on. For now.
Want to try the other side?
You're registered and you go vote. Raise your hand.
You're not welcome. Leave.
Almost everybody. But if you're not registered,
Let's not instigate.
Let's just register today. They voice the tragedy, the experience, the heartache to change laws and to stop laws like
I'm
terrorist.
Callaway, man. Work the protest here. I'm an Aggie too, man. Oh, so what are y'all doing here today?
Just interviewing people at the rally.
Okay. Are y'all counter protesters?
No, not at all.
We're interviewing people.
Okay. We were trying to figure out what was going on with that guy over there.
They just didn't like some of the questions.
He didn't like the fact that he had a U.S. Marine Corps bag on, and he said he was disrespecting the Marine Corps. And I turned around and said to him, I said, how is wearing a bag disrespecting the Marine Corps? This had nothing to do with his interview.
Okay.
This had to do with a military problem, okay? I'm just the cameraman, but if someone's going to start talking like that to me, I'm going to turn around to them, I'm going to have a conversation with them about it. I turned around and left because I realized that was not the right place to do it, all right? So we're just here to interview people, we're not trying to cause problems, all right?
Okay. Gotcha. All right, yeah. Feel free to do that. We were trying to figure what was going on. So that's it. Yeah.
Whatever, man.
Okay.
What's in a backpack?
Marine, that's just a Marine backpack.
We've interviewed hundreds of people in Houston, and we've never had any problems. We were at the NRA rally.
Well, sometimes a few problems.
Well, I don't know. We didn't have any problems in the NRA rally.
Sometimes people hear questions and they don't agree with them. So, all right, man. Y'all feel free to do.
Thank you.
To do our thing, man. Cool.
Human life is more important than rifle life.
All right, quick pause. I want to explain some of the footage that comes after this and some of the lack thereof. We'll get to that in a second, but first, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Atlas VPN. Atlas VPN is offering a major discount to viewers of this channel if you use the link in the description box down below, where you can get the service for as little as $1.99 per month. That's less than a Starbucks coffee. Atlas is a virtual private network that gives you privacy and security while surfing the web. A VPN is useful on a home computer, laptop, and mobile phone. It encrypts your data while you're surfing the web or connecting to routers and things like that, so you are safe from hackers, infiltrators, people trying to gain access to your data. Using Atlas VPN is super easy. All you got to do is go to the application, press the connect button, and boom, you are connected and protected. There's a bunch of servers in different cities in the United States, as well as many countries around the world available to choose from. I'd especially recommend one if you're connecting to public Wi-Fi, but it's something I use on default now just for privacy and security reasons. Also, it's pretty cool that if there's geo-restricted content, whether it's Netflix or some other thing on YouTube that's only restricted to certain countries, you can use a VPN to get around that sometimes. Right now, Atlas VPN is offering a huge discount where you can get a 3-year subscription for as little as $1.99 per month. They have a 30-day money-back guaranteed, so if you don't like it, you could always get your money back, not a worry. So I recommend giving them a try. They support the channel, support them. Click the link in the description box down below and check them out. So now to the explanation of the footage that is there/not there. You can see the camera cuts out before we're about to interview this lady. I believe this is because the cameraman hit the record button after it was already recording, which then stopped the recording and just didn't realize this. So we continued on. We continued getting harassed by those 2 individuals who we first interviewed initially, who kept following us around. And it eventually got to the point where we had a mob basically surrounding us. People started getting a bit physical, where they were starting to touch the camera. And then an undercover officer from the Houston Police Department had to step in and stop the people from further escalating tensions with us. So I wish I caught it on camera. Unfortunately, I didn't, but we have more in the rest of the video segments that actually were recorded. So sorry about that. On to the video.
I'm recording now. So I just want to get this on the record.
Yes,
so we were interviewing people here earlier. We're media. We're asking questions, not trying to instigate. And you're saying,
who are you affiliated with, sir?
I have a YouTube channel called Nuance Pro. So this is the first time this has honestly happened, where police have kicked me out of an event.
I didn't kick you out, sir.
So I'm allowed to go in there and ask people questions?
Well, they reserved this area.
I understand, but it's still a public area.
Yes, sir. But no, not when they reserved it.
This is still a publicly open area. It's not fenced off. There's no metal detectors or anything going into this place. It's open to the public. There's no it's not a ticketed event. Media has the right to go in here and ask people questions. This is First Amendment protected activity, even according to Supreme Court jurisprudence. Are you willing to get sued, your police department, over this?
Tell me when you're done. No.
Go ahead, please.
Okay. Now that they have, this is a private event. It is a private event because they reserved this location, so that it's their event. So if they ask us to have y'all leave, then it is their event. It doesn't matter. Yes, it is. You can reserve this for a private event. It happens all the time. So the fact that your views differ from theirs, according to them, not me, I'm asking that you come over here into your area, and anybody who comes near you, you can ask whatever questions you want. You can interview them any way you want.
Sure.
Now, interacting with them, all it's doing is inciting several people in there enough to where they're
You're claiming I'm inciting people here?
Well, we've seen several people get upset and flag us down. So.
For asking questions, this is what media does.
I don't know what questions you're asking, sir.
Yeah,
That's why I'm trying to keep your safety and their safety. That's why I'm asking you to come over here.
I understand. I mean, earlier your officers were saying I have a First Amendment right to do this. That's what they told me. It's on camera.
You can give your speech. You can ask.
No, but on the actual property, this is public.
During events like this, there is the opposition section.
I'm not opposite. I'm media.
I'm media.
I understand.
So I'm just saying that if they report us, let's follow the rules.
I think the rules are the First Amendment. I understand time, place, and manner restrictions. I understand the jurisprudence behind that. I've never had this happen. I don't see anywhere where they've cordoned it off. They're
they don't have to, sir. They don't have to.
It's public space.
Yes, but it's their reserved spot, so it's not public. It's
people.
A private event.
I understand people reserve events ahead with the city all the time. That doesn't make it private, where they can restrict media like that.
They
I'm
can
pretty sure that's
restrict
not
who
the
they
case.
Want. And at this point, when you're asking them questions that's kind of contradicting what they believe in, then it is causing a conflict. So for their safety and for your safety.
That's what media is supposed to do. Aren't
Okay,
we
sir.
supposed to challenge
And that's
narratives?
why we're asking you to stand right there. You can stand right there. You're clear. You got a clear view of
So you're going to arrest me if I go in there?
No, sir. Did you understand what I'm saying?
So no, if I go in there and I ask people questions, you're going to arrest me.
If it can, we just don't want it to escalate.
I don't want it either. I'm doing my best not to instigate. It's on camera saying, let's move on. I don't want to instigate.
You to stand right.
So you're asking me, you're not ordering me?
No, sir.
Okay, so I can still go in there and do that.
Like I said, sir, we're trying to for your.
I want a clear answer on this because you said you're requesting, you're not
I'm
ordering.
asking you to stand over.
Well, I'm going to continue going to ask questions.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
I'm
Thank you. I
just
appreciate
telling you
it.
for your safety.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, let's continue. All right. Hey, do you want to get HPD? Because I just want to just for a second. I want to highlight we have a bunch of cops standing behind us just in case, but I appreciate it. All right. So, why are we out here today?
We're out here to protest the raging gun violence in our country, to protect our children. That's why we're out here.
And what are we going to do about that, like policy-wise or anything?
Honestly, anything at this point. But what we need is we need waiting periods. We need to completely get rid of these open carry laws. We need to, pretty much everything that they've been saying today, you know. I'm sorry. I'm emotional.
So waiting periods, it's often, it used to be a bigger part of the conversation back in the day. I don't hear them talking about it as much these days. Why the waiting period in particular?
Well, from what I understand, a lot of times when it comes to gun violence, it is the access. You get that emotion, you decide you're finally going to do something. And a lot of times when people wait, they find that moment, that impulse goes away. So I think it's really important. They've proven it with suicides. You know, if you don't have a gun, if you don't have instant access to a way to end your own life, then that feeling goes away. And I think that's what we need, is we need people to not have that instant access when they get that impulse to be able to just go.
So obviously, a lot of these protests that have been coming up around the country recently are in response to Uvalde and Buffalo and these incidents that happened. In this case of these mass shootings, these shooters planned this over like many months, it appears. This wasn't like a passion in the moment sort of thing. So it doesn't seem like waiting periods would stop a case like that. So what do you think, as far as policy, is something we should do to stop things like that from happening?
Well, we need to have mandatory background checks.
Well, they both of them went through background checks in both of their cases. So, like, if there's something we can do, like, what is it something in those cases we could do to stop something like that?
In those particular cases, I don't have an answer for you right now. No.
That's fair. I mean, a lot of us, we don't know. We're looking for answers. I think it's okay to say I don't know and really think deeply about these things.
Well, that's something that I want to think about then. That's something that I want to talk to other people that feel passionately about this. Talk to people who want to save their own families. Try to get down to several roots of the issue, because like you said, maybe some of these things wouldn't have helped in some of these cases, but they will help in others, and then we will find things that will help in this. It's not one answer. It is going to be a group effort.
What do you say to the people on the other side of that when they say, like, sure, it might help in those instances, but there's also cost to this as well? For example, let's say there's a woman with a domestic violence issue with a former ex or something like that. She's separated from him. She wants to get a gun to protect herself, because there have been instances where there are waiting periods in certain states, and these people want to get a gun, and they are murdered in the time from when they basically applied to get the gun to when they got murdered within the waiting period time. So do you feel like that's a cost worth taking?
Yes, I do. I think that when you have people buying mass weapons and killing dozens of children at one time, that yes, and once again, there's not one solution. The only solution for that person who is experiencing domestic abuse, the only solution is not that they go get a gun right away. Okay? We as a society need to bolster all of our social services, all of them. There is a tragedy in every corner of this country, but we have to take steps to start mitigating them, and one solution is not going to fix everything.
So obviously, these mass shootings, I believe, are something like less than 1% of the homicides that happen. At least the mass public killings. Mass shootings are technically a bit different. They're about less than 1%. So they're interrupting my interview again. Yeah, I don't know what asking ID has to do with anything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want to end the interview, it's totally fine, but it's up to you. All good. Thank you. Yeah, so we had them interrupt the interview again, but we got a bit of discourse in there. That's all right. Hey, you want to get that on film? Yeah. So we've got an escort. We appreciate you guys. No. I appreciate you guys coming along. Actually, like, yeah, it's not a like a hostile thing or anything. So I appreciate you guys coming along for sure. So why are we out here today?
Specifically for the victims in Buffalo and Uvalde, but just in general to try and fight against gun violence and to get Congress to act.
And what kind of policies are we looking for in order to achieve, a better society? By the way, some people might be coming here to interrupt us and lie. They claim I'm with the NRA. I am not affiliated with the NRA. They don't pay me or anything. They just don't believe YouTubers are journalists. So they're one of those like only corporate media accounts people. So it's like I said. So it's
Okay. Yeah. So banning assault rifles, banning assault rifles. High-capacity magazines, extending background checks, just basic common sense gun laws that that will help.
I'm doing an interview. I'll tell you later. I'll tell you after the interview. Yeah, sure. So I have a YouTube channel called Nuance Bro. Nuance Bro?
Nuance Bro?
Yes.
What do you...
I go to events and I interview people and I ask them like tough questions typically.
So you're pro or for gun?
Well, as far as the interview's concerned, I just ask tough questions. Like I did the NRA convention, and I asked people in the NRA convention tough questions as well as the pro stuff.
Like, well, I mean, similar, like what?
Like
type of questions?
if they advocate for a policy position, I ask them to like basically okay, why, like stuff like that. So
pro, what are you? So they're like they're basically spreading propaganda.
I am
for not like. So we just like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no worries. All good. No problem. I understand. All good.
Thanks, guys, for having.
Hello. Would you like to do an interview?
Have the day you deserve.
What's that?
Have the day you deserve.
What kind of day do you think I deserve? Okay. Would you guys like to do an interview? No?
You may. Oh, I'm with them.
Oh, you're with me?
Yeah, I'm with you guys.
Oh, do you want to do an interview? All right. Ready? Recording? All right. So he claims he's with me. So we're going to try to do an interview. Why are we out here today? The sign says, actually, guns do cause gun violence. Do you want to explain the sign? I thought you were with me. If you are silent, you support gun violence. Very suspicious. So are you trying to like follow me around for this entire event? Is that what's happening?
I'm with you guys. I thought we all believed this. That's what you told me earlier.
I don't think the guns themselves cause gun violence. I think they can be used.
You lied to me.
I lied? What do you mean? What did I say?
You told me that you agreed to this earlier.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh, are you defaming me?
Yeah, I guess so.
You're literally admitting to defaming me.
You said this earlier.
You just admitted to defaming me.
Which is it? You said you agreed with this earlier.
Do you have like tape of that or something? Or?
No, I don't carry a microphone. Oh. Apparently you need to.
Yeah. Well, that's what media does.
Okay. Yeah. What media, by the way?
I don't know if I feel comfortable telling you because you're.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. So you don't.
I appreciate you're not silent anymore. We got it out of you.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So you don't even stand by the media that you are.
Oh, I definitely do. But if people are following me around, harassing me, and acting in bad faith, defaming me, I don't necessarily feel comfortable
Who's doing
sharing.
That?
You literally just admitted to defaming me a few seconds ago.
This is an open park.
Yeah, but you can defame. You can defame someone in an open park.
Is this you?
You can defame someone in an open park.
This is all yours?
When did I say that?
Then why can't I just stand here?
Okay. All right, well, let's move on. I guess. Oh, he's following me now. Yeah. I don't want him to be around me, but he's gonna, follow me around and stuff.
So what do you do for a living?
Oh, I do this, by the way.
This is what you do for a living?
Can we get in the front a little bit?
Yeah. This is what you do for a living.
I do. What do you do for a living?
You don't have any skills or anything?
What do you do for a living?
Seriously, you don't have any skills?
What do you do for a living?
So you don't have any skills?
What do you do for a living?
Wow. That's kind of sad.
What do you? I told you what I do for a living. What do you do for a living?
Do anything?
What do you do for a living?
You do this, which is nothing, right?
I'm going to try to talk to other people. I'm assuming you're going to interrupt, but I'm going to go try to. No? Okay. You're probably going to tell them, oh, this guy, you're going to probably defame me. Yeah, you're going to defame me.
Let's share our view.
All right, well, let's see. Would you guys be interested in doing an interview?
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. All right.
Run a pro-NRA.
I'm not pro NRA. This is like defamation. This is not true. I'm not pro NRA.
I thank you for the information. I will be aware. I'll keep in mind before I have any answers.
Sure. And if you could not block the camera, please. We're trying to do an interview
That's
here.
not good. Who are you with?
Oh, I have a YouTube channel.
And
Yeah.
What group or organization are you with?
I have a YouTube. I'm independent. I have a YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Nuance Bro.
Say again.
Nuance Bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll hear what questions you have to say. No answers. No promises that I will be answering them though.
I'm sorry. I'm kind of I'm literally media. So
I appreciate the information. Thank you. I've heard. I am also very much not pro-gun. I'm going to hear the questions. I'm probably not going to answer them now.
Sure. All right. Cool.
All right. Okay. Thank you. Genuinely thank you.
Sure. All right. So why are we out here today?
I would like to hear more directly related questions to whatever issues you are trying to get answers from. So if we can skip the small talk questions, I would appreciate that.
That's usually how I started off, to get a sense of like how I'm going to ask. I don't have like pre-prepared questions. So like, why are we out here today?
We are out here today because guns are murdering people in America without fail and without stop, and our elected officials have a responsibility and a duty to our country to prevent murders from happening. And the best way to do that is through gun control on this particular issue that we're discussing here today.
Sure. And what kind of policies related to gun control do you want to see achieved?
I fully support what is being represented here on March for Our Lives, their platform, and what has been said by the speakers here today, because they are the people in positions of power, especially our elected representatives who would talk. I would refer you to their answers, and the people who we would vote in November and currently have voted in, who are progressive legislators, who are anti-gun legislators, like the people who have been talking today.
Sure. Is there any specific policy that for the audience at home that might not be familiar with?
I have just given my answer to that question.
Okay. But you don't have specific policy?
I do have specifics, but I've just given my answer to that question, which is that you should talk to our elected representatives, the people who are in a position to make policy, not the people who are in a position here to support their elected representatives like this.
I mean, it seems the issue is that a lot of those.
All right, we're done.
Well, I was gonna. Okay. Okay. All right.
We're done. Lies don't go very far when people
Okay.
are informed.
All right. I don't know what he said.
For all your fans?
I don't know if I want to tell you, actually.
Why not?
Well, because you guys are lying about me.
You're proud.
You guys are
with your First Amendment
I
rights.
can spread it to all my like 500,000 people on TikTok. You can spread it to them.
That's great. I'm glad you have a big audience on TikTok.
Yeah. So what's your YouTube channel again?
What's your TikTok?
My TikTok is good to be bad.
Good to be bad? Okay.
What's yours?
Well, you guys are like.
You didn't know.
Look at you.
Poor thing.
Is this your guys' opportunity to like bash a brown guy? Yeah.
I'm talking to this guy, not you.
Oh, really? Yeah. So I'm beneath you, I guess. Yeah.
Gavin, let me ask him a question. If you stood behind your agenda, then you would release your information.
Not when people are bad faith. So.
You're not bad faith?
I'm not. No.
Oh, so you told people I'm a member of the media and I'm here to do.
I don't have a membership card with like the organization called media, but I'm literally media. So yeah.
YouTube channel probably what 1,000 people?
161,000.
Ooh, so what's your YouTube channel?
I don't feel like telling you.
Yeah. They can find you.
I know. You're probably.
Lots of people will find you.
I appreciate the doxing threats. Thank you. By the way, guys, you saw the people who are out there saying I'm not media, whatever. They're right. I'm not corporate media. I don't have these big corporate sponsors, these big advertisers, pharma companies, etc., that support the work I do. But I'm supported by people like you. So if you want to support the channel and you don't appreciate the harassment that I receive at these events for not being corporate media, then support us at nuancebro.com/join. It really helps us continue to do work like this, and I really appreciate it. And you get exclusive members-only content that you can't see anywhere else. Thank you. So why are we out here today?
Try to save lives. Try to change gun laws.
What type of gun laws would you like to see?
I would like to see guns registered. Every gun in this country registered. We register our cars because they're dangerous, and we have to know who owns them. And if something happens with that car, the owner is responsible unless they have said that their car has been stolen. Guns are the exact same thing. We have the mechanism in place to register them, to license them, and to know what is out there. And we should also take every gun that shoots a bullet, take that bullet and put it into an artificial intelligence, and that way they can get the rifling off the bullet and identify every gun just like fingerprints, and that way we will know what gun shot that bullet and who the owner is and who's responsible for that activity.
You're talking about, I think it's like fingerprints for bullets, like forensics. I think one of the states mandated this for all firearms back in the day. I think it was Maryland. I think they had it back in the day, and they scrapped it a few years ago because they said it didn't actually work. So is it something you still support, even though it's been demonstrated to not really work when they do this?
Well, some gun owners or some gun people say that every rifle, every barrel will produce its own signature on the bullet. That's all I've heard about.
Yeah, but if it hasn't worked in states that they've implemented it in and they've scrapped the programs because it hasn't solved a single case, is it something that we should Is it something we should advocate for, or should we focus on policies that are proven?
Well, I mean, if that's the case, yes, then that the guns should be registered and they should be licensed. Just like your driver's license, your car registration, it should be the exact same mechanism.
So if there was licensing and registration, this like really sort of like rigorous and like well documented, legal regime around guns, would you support then, for example, allowing all the guns that we have today?
Well, we can't allow ghost guns because ghost guns...
They would be registered, presumably, like you'd have to be forced to register it under what you're advocating for.
Well, I don't think that should be allowed. I think that ghost guns should have an automatic 5-year criminal put in jail for 5 years automatically if you're found with a ghost gun, because
by definition that would be unregistered.
They should be illegal.
Yeah, by definition that would be an unregistered
right.
Firearm. So obviously, but all other guns, like if it was like an AR-15, AK-47, even fully automatic weapons, if they were registered and licensed, you'd be okay with people having those?
Yes.
I don't know if a lot of other people here would agree with you on that point, but I do appreciate your consistency on that. What about legal regimes like concealed carry or constitutional carry in a state like Texas? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that when you have open carrying,
or concealed carry.
Well, concealed carrying should not be allowed. They should have open carry. If you have someone who has a gun, they should show it to you. Then you know what you're up against. When it's concealed, you have people shooting at each other randomly because one pulls out a gun and the other one starts pulling out the gun. If they both realized they had guns, they wouldn't do it.
Historically in the United States, this actually used to be the understanding, is open carry was preferable. They thought only criminals would hide the guns, so they actually viewed it as like a nefarious thing to hide the gun, whereas in modern society, weapons are kind of looked at as in an offensive way, especially in cities. They think it'll cause alarm, so nowadays the legal regimes seem to prefer concealed carry, but it seems like you want to go back to the old 1800s style of thinking for open carry. Is that right?
Yes, because when you see the weapon, you'll know what you're dealing with. You know what the potential dangers are. When it's hidden, you don't know.
But isn't the worry that criminals will hide the guns regardless, and they might, if they see someone open carrying, they could sneak up behind them, pop them in the head, and steal their gun or something like that?
It's always a possibility. We're always going to have people who are going to be criminals, and they're always going to do underhanded things.
But it could potentially put the law-abiding citizen at a tactical disadvantage.
Well, we're under a tactical disadvantage right now for those who carry versus those who don't carry. So, you never know. In today's world, in Texas, you can have an argument with somebody, they'll just pull out a gun and shoot you.
Has that ever happened to you where someone's pulled a gun on you, like a law-abiding citizen who has like a concealed carry
I'm not a
license.
law-abiding citizen. A criminal pulled a gun on me. Yes.
Did you wish you had a gun in that situation?
Not really. No.
What happened? They like mug you or something?
They tried to mug me.
They weren't successful?
No, I ran away, and it was beside a street, and I ran into the street, and there was enough traffic that came by that they decided not to.
When and where was this, if you don't mind me asking?
This was in Fondren Southwest, and this was back in 1991, 92.
Houston? Or?
In Houston.
Oh, yeah. I mean, so the homicide rate in Houston back in the 90s, I think 1990 was the peak homicide rate in Houston. I think it was something like, it must have been like 30 or 36 per 100,000. But recently it's been ticking up again. It's at about 20 per 100,000 or so. Does crime in Houston worry you?
Well, crime everywhere worries me. I mean, the problem is with COVID, people can wear masks, and so you don't know who's a good person, who's a bad person when you can't see their face. So that's why one of the things why the crime has risen up in a lot of places, because they have a mask to hide behind, and you can't identify who they are.
This is a point a lot of people don't make, is that they have this mantra of no face, no case. And a lot of people, they're wearing the masks nowadays because it's been normalized, and they're using that as cover to commit crimes, because if they cover their face, there's a lower chance of them being identified. Do you feel like we should implement some sort of now that we have boosters and we have like herd immunity to some degree or whatever, do you feel like we should go back to these anti-masking policies so people could be like identified and crimes could be solved?
I think if everybody was vaccinated to the extent that we need to have herd immunity, yes.
Or previously infected.
Yes. No, because we're at that point now where enough people are vaccinated, and I mean, I've been vaccinated with all the boosters, and I've had COVID, and I'm pretty much immune to everything that's out there, so I'm not worried about it. So
support implementing like these anti-masking policies in order to help solve crimes and things like that.
Definitely, yes. We need to know who the criminals are, identify them, and that way, with all the screens that are around, all the cameras that are all over the place, we can locate them much easier and find out who they are. And when we have the picture, then we can definitely identify them and bring them to justice.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You keep saying I'm with the NRA. They don't pay me or anything. I'm not affiliated with them like that.
Did you say you're with the media?
I am the media. I have a YouTube channel.
That's not media.
That is media. It's actually pretty like bigoted for you guys to say otherwise. Like that. How do you think? Yeah, I know you guys don't. You don't gaslighting. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Let's bash the minority. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I mean.
He's a minority, right?
Yeah, so yeah, you can bash him freely, I suppose. Women are the majority of the population, so. Yeah. All right, guys, that's going to be the end of the video. Lots of interruptions, lots of chaos there, but I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Social media posts are in the description box below, as well as merch. Support us at nuancebro.com/join, and I'll see you next time, bro.